Okay. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. So glad we're here together this morning in this circle as we gather together as a community. This is what we do each week, but every time we gather, we're slightly different. There's new folks among us. There's people returning among us. We are really fortunate every time we gather to be this unique and special place to be ourselves and to welcome each other into a place to be spiritual seekers. So I welcome each one of you, whether you're here, whether you're in Saskatoon with our sister community there, whether you are at home and online or watching at any time later on, welcome to this circle. We focus on what it means to be our best human selves, rooted in the tradition that we are, reaching toward so many things that help us commit to the values we wish to be about. That we might be reaching toward diversity and belonging, toward spiritual depth in our lives, toward compassion and connection. We're reaching toward making differences wherever we can in our lives, both individually and together, communally. And we're collectively building wisdom and resilience. Welcome to this place where we can do that with each other, where we can be safe to share our journeys and to be wherever we are on the path and make a new step along the way. So welcome to each one of you. Whether we say it once or whether we've said it 100 times, we affirm who we are together, and we affirm that we're welcome and belong in this place. All sizes, all ages, all colors, all cultures, all abilities, all genders, all sexualities, all learning styles and neurotypes, all religions or none. You are welcome here, every single one of you. And this is a place where we work to create the environment where we make sure that that affirmation can happen wherever we gather and whenever we gather. So welcome. Joanne.
Well, after that, I guess it means I'm also welcome. Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joanne Van Beek. My pronouns are she and her. And I have the wonderful privilege today to be your spiritual gathering companion. So, just as Chris said, welcome. Welcome, welcome to this very circle. In this circle, we are all lights. We are all shining the sacred light within us. Whether you believe that, whether you feel it, whether you sense it, whether you know it, it's true. You are all shining the sacred light within you. And yet, strangely and beautifully, I think, we are all still seeking new expressions of that sacred light. And this is a special place that we can do that. And of course, that's why we are gathered here today, to seek new expressions of that sacred light. And so to symbolize that, of course, we have our community candle, which we're going to light. And here, during this time together, we kindle that light. For this light is a little fire that reminds us, of course, as we move along today, this morning, of what lies within us, that sacred light. And what lies just outside of us, that remains a bit of a mystery, and we keep seeking it. Whether we're here together this morning, whether we're here in person, whether we're visiting through a screen, we are sacred lights together in this community. So I'm going to invite you this morning to just simply smile. Okay? Give yourself a smile to that beautiful sacred light that's within you at this very moment. And we pray and we hope that this light, this candle, will remind us also that we're not alone on this journey as sacred lights. As we seek these deeper expressions of that light, we're together, and we're here together. And for that, I'm very grateful. We are also here together today at Southminster Steinhauer United Church, better known as SSUC, or Spiritual Seekers United in Community, situated on Treaty 6 territory land. Each week, we give a land acknowledgement. And so, even this morning, it is with deep respect to our Indigenous and Métis neighbors and friends that we acknowledge that we are on their ancestral land here on Treaty 6. As a first-generation Canadian, I know that my parents felt very honored to be welcomed into Canada in 1950. And that means I myself am very much a newcomer here on this land. And I too am grateful to be welcomed here. But I know that that comes with responsibilities. One of those responsibilities is that as a community, we gather and we make weekly commitments to foster, to the best of our ability, a healing relationship with the First Peoples of this land. And may that be our aspiration and our intention this morning. May we not just speak the words or sing the words, but may our noble intentions for reconciliation and harmony with our Treaty 6 relations be acted upon wherever and whenever possible. And may we be encouraged to do that during our time together this morning.
Shoes, walk the dusty borders between us, paths I've never chosen to choose. How then shall I live? How shall I live? How then shall I live? How shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live? Saw the world outside of my looking, gazed upon the eyes of the soul, held the hopes and fears of tomorrow, found the pieces making the whole. How then shall I live? How then shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live? Took a step inside of my walking, found within a beat that we share, walked with you the length of a lifetime, and made of life a living prayer. How then shall I live? How then shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live? How then shall I live? How then shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live?
If there's any in the room that would like to come for a time for all ages, a time on the carpet, you're welcome to come. If you'd like to stay in your seats, you're welcome to do that too. But we're going to join right up here. Hello. Good morning.
I've been here 2 times.
I love it. Is this your 3rd time?
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Hello. Come on in. Welcome. I want to show you something.
I won't.
Yeah, I'm going to show you.
I see.
Do you know what that is? What's it called? A thingamajig. Do you know what it's called? It's called a Hoberman sphere. You learned something. It's just named after the guy who kind of put it together for the first time. It's made of a whole bunch of joints and funny things. They kind of look like scissors. Can you see? There's just a whole bunch of little plastic pieces that join together with these hinges, kind of like scissors. And the amazing thing about a Hoberman sphere is that when it's small like this, it's nice and compact and really kind of cute. And then when you pull it apart, it changes quite drastically. It really changes, like not just a little bit, like it really changes.
Oh my
Woo!
God, that's huge!
That is huge. Yes. The way this thing is built is that it changes up to like 3 or more times its original size when it gets bigger, and that's pretty cool. It works, and I don't expect you to remember this, but it works by, if you can see can you see circles going all the way around? Like you can see that, like the yellow circle and the purple circle and the red circle. Can you see that? So there's 6 of those, kind of like the colors in a rainbow. Well, sort of.
It's like a magical ball.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my paper because the 6 circles in a Hoberman sphere correspond to the edges of an icosahedron.
What in the world is that?
Well, I'm sorry, I gave you the name, that's all I can say. So, why am I showing you this? Because I want to tell you something. There's also, there's many uses for this. In fact, I want to show you a little thing. The very largest Hoberman sphere in the world, there's a little video of it here. It's in like a museum, kind of a science center, and it's hanging from the ceiling, and it goes in and out. I want to show you. This is what it looks like. Wow.
Oh my God!
Yes, it's great, isn't it? I love it. That's in Estonia. Yeah, it's amazing. It just goes back and it just gets smaller and bigger all day long as people are there. It's very cool. Very cool.
It's like amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm faces.
So we could spend all day talking about this, but there's also, people have used a Hoberman sphere to think about the way we breathe. I don't know if you've thought about the way you breathe before, but it's kind of like when you bring in air into your body expands. I mean, your diaphragm goes down, it lets air in, it expands everything in your torso. You get kind of bigger. So people have used this as kind of a way to remember how to breathe fully. So if you blow out all your air, you can try this with me, everyone in the room. And then as this gets bigger, so does our breath. And then we can do it again. We can feel ourselves expanding, can't we? And then letting go of that air, and then expanding. Yes. Not only our breath can expand like that, but so can our heart. It doesn't get big literally like that. Our heart doesn't actually go like this. If it did, we'd have some medical problems. But we talk about our heart kind of, in symbols and in images. And when we talk about expanding our heart, what we're talking about is what? What does that mean if we want our heart to be big? What does it mean? Caring, sure. What else? Loving. If we want to grow our heart, the size of our heart, what else are we going to grow? What are we growing? Our caring, our loving, what else?
Caring.
Yeah. Our compassion. Our kindness. You can fit in there almost. So we talk about expanding, not only when we breathe, but we expand our heart by the way we can love and care and have compassion and kindness. That's amazing, and it includes more and more people. Like you couldn't fit in here when it's closed, but it's amazing who we can fit in our hearts and in our lives when we expand like this, in breath, in heart. Exactly. It's the largest helmet you've ever worn. Beautiful. Okay, so it's a great symbol of what we try to do with each other. When you come here each week and when you talk with your families about really wonderful ways to live and be friends and be kind, we're talking about expanding ourselves, expanding our hearts, expanding our lives so that we can fit others. We can fit others into our lives. Beautiful. Thank you for coming and sharing this Hoberman Sphere experience with me. Would you care to know that there is youth space happening with Wes, and Daisy and Ariane are ready with Kids Spirit? So what do you think? Let's do our things. Let's do our things. This is a chance to share the things that are happening in the life and work of our community, and so we'll have a few things to share momentarily, and I'm going to start by just reporting to you that yesterday, on the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi, we met and we joined to honor our animal friends in the small hall yesterday, and we had quite a few dog and kitty friends with us. We didn't have any lizards and hamsters and all that, but we did have the furry and hairy varieties, and the humans too. Yeah, the humans too. We had a wonderful time getting to know each other, what makes our animal friends so special to us, and celebrating them and offering blessings on their safety and their lives. So a lovely time last night. Thanks for all who participated. Harry, I'm calling you up first.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Harry Pauls, pronouns he, him, and it's my pleasure to make an important announcement. Gloria Hook is having a milestone celebration today. As part of that, there will be cookies where you can share the celebration with you after the service. So I hope to see you there.
Hello, I'm Steve Bailey, pronouns he, him. As many of you know, we did a food drive in September, A Little Means a Lot, and really the purpose of this, obviously, to bring together food and money to help those in need, but really it's a way to remind us of our humanity and part of our membership in our society and our community, which is the whole idea behind A Little Means a Lot. So whether it was the $5 that somebody gave me or the can of food, or the generous donation of one of our community who donated $1,000 to this effort. It was really an incredible experience. So thank you all so much, and I wanted to let you know that in addition to collecting 2 very large boxes of food, you all contributed just under $2,000 for a month of this drive, which is pretty incredible. I know it's been a while since we've done an effort like this. So yeah, give yourself a round of applause. It's a really generous thing you've done, and it's obviously going to make a huge impact, so thank you so much.
Steve, I just read that EPCOR is matching donations to the food bank during October.
And if you didn't hear that, Peggy said that EPCOR is matching donations to the food bank for the whole month of October. So anything you give, they will match. Thanks, Peggy. Great.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elise. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm back again to invite you guys to the fall dinner. It will be happening on November 7th from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We'll have a lovely meal. Some local musicians are coming to join us. We will also have a silent auction and a live auction, so we are accepting donations for that. So if you're interested in donating something, please come see myself or May. I don't think May's here today, so come see me. Oh, she's up there. Hi, May, you were hiding. Yeah, so the sign-up sheet is in the foyer. I think that's all. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ruth Stewart-Verger, pronouns she, her, and I am part of the refugee support team. So Yamana and Sim have now been here 1 year. And yes, they have done a lot. So at the end of a refugee support year, that first 12 months, there's always a debrief. It's called month 13. It's that review and the idea that there's goal setting. Yamana started by saying when they were in Africa, waiting to come, their goal was to get here. It was going to be the end of that journey. It was going to be the end of daily fearing for their lives. And when they reached Canada, it was just the beginning. They traded fear, terror, for worrying about what comes next. This different language, this different culture, different ways of doing things. And they felt support. They felt support from the refugee support team, from the people in the community, and they want to give their thanks for that. Every morning, Sim wakes up and he goes to the front window. And he looks out our front window and he says, "It's quiet. It's peaceful. Neighbors are helping each other. And people care." And that has made a huge difference in their lives. Over those 12 months, they have been working very hard, learning English, improving English, and they've taken courses to improve that employability, first aid. They've done food safety courses, driver's education courses. Driving is different in Africa, they tell me. And as they work through all of this, they know that though they've got a college degree, it's not accepted because their home government will not release certificates or any paperwork. There's no proof. So they started high school again. And they are now working full-time. They are trying to develop I'm looking at birthday. They're trying to develop their own company, video photography company, and they have work weekly. So it's full-time and part-time, and they're trying to sneak studies in between. we just welcomed Ferruz. Ferruz is Sim's fiance, and she is so excited about being here. And she's working really hard on her English. We are working to get Malat here. The picture of Yamana and Malat was 13 months ago. And their baby is now 5 months old. It's going to take a lot more paperwork, a lot more time, and more funds, but we will get them here too. This particular week was the first week that they could move furniture into their new apartment. Yamana and Sim have just moved out. They have one bed, and they will have two within the next 2 days. Thank you to people who are working to do that. And there is a list of things that they're still looking for. It will be back on the table at the back with me. And if you happen to have anything that's on their list, it's a very small apartment so they can afford it, so they don't want too much, just enough. Thank you. From them, much thanks.
Our wisdom reading today comes from the book of Romans. That's in the New Testament part of the Bible. Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. Here's what it says. Here's what I want you to do. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and make that your spirituality, your gift to the world. Do not become so well adjusted and conformed to this world that you accept without questioning. Be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you bring out the best in yourselves and others, developing a well-formed maturity in knowing and doing what is good. This is a first-century letter of encouragement to a new community. May we find wisdom for our living.
Thank you, Wade. We are very calm now. I want to share with you a little piece of writing. This was lurking in the dusty shelves of the office. It's called Listening to One Another, Sermons Preached at Southminster Steinhauer United Church, 1986. This little tidbit is written by Garth Mundell on July the 6th of that year. This is what he writes. We are all theologians. We all have theologies, understandings of what we believe and why, and that determines and shapes our responses and our reactions to life and its experiences. A radical reformation of our theology is long overdue, which is funny, written from a place that was always doing that anyway, but yes, long overdue. Not just a rewriting in more contemporary language or a further application of it to contemporary living. No. The need is a radical reforming of our understandings which will require us to dismantle those theological tenets which we consider to be the foundation or the cornerstone of our religious tradition. Taking apart and taking down what has been built upon previously sacred cows of our creeds and upon which a superstructure has been built over the centuries, which we can no longer defend, either with our own experience or our own commitment. 40 years ago. Nice. We have a history in this community of pushing toward a more open and more relevant spirituality, reforming and rethinking, a long custom of taking apart and putting back together. And we're still about that work of reforming and reframing what it means to be a spiritual person, because also 1986 isn't 2025. So the work continues, right? Reforming and reframing is an important part of what it means to open the sphere, to expand ourselves spiritually. I wonder just how different that writing is from the writing of the first century letter written to the group of people struggling with what it means to be a part of their spiritual community. Maybe they're not that different. These people gathered in Rome all grew up and were taught in the Jewish tradition, and now they're considering what it means to be Jewish at a new time, to reform, to dismantle, to adjust what priorities and understandings they can get behind and what needs discarding. I want to read this translation that Joanne read for us in the second chapter, second verse of what she read. Do not become so well adjusted and conformed to this world that you accept without questioning. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you bring out the best in yourself and others, developing a well-formed maturity in knowing and doing what is good. Those are excellent instructions, whether we live in 40 AD or 2025. Here in this letter, what is the encouragement given to this fledgling community? It's in the task of trying to restructure who they are and what they're about for a new time. Notice that they're not warned to stick to what you know and conform to the old ways. Notice they're equally not told to take it or leave it. If you don't like what the traditional way was, well, then go find somewhere else. They're not to abandon their community altogether if they don't agree, but instead to reevaluate what their spirituality demands of them. Not rules and dogma, but to make their everyday actions be their measure, their walking, their talking. What a glimpse into something ancient. And we don't often put these together, do we? Ancient and flexible. We often think, oh, the ancients, rigid. They had the rules, they had the dogma. But we get these glimpses every now and again of the subversive community that has always been there, has always been through our tradition, to be flexible, to be reforming, to be reframing. To be looking for positive change and transformation. That is exactly what being expansive is, to be spiritually expansive. This is the series that we're in about expansive vocabulary. How can we understand ourselves and help each other develop a language that helps us to better communicate who we are and what we're about? Because, like I said, over the last couple of weeks, we've all been in the elevator and been asked a question about maybe our faith, or if we're a person that goes to church, and we've all, like myself, said, yeah, what do I say now? So the hope is that these few weeks will give us a bit more vocabulary, a bit more language to talk about it. We've talked about the language of church, that word church, and the language of community, and maybe the other things that help us to talk about that. What are the important things when we think about church or community that help us to communicate it, real life kind of words and language. We've also talked about the language of loving one another and how we use that word to describe the connection we must have with our fellow humans. That it comes down to a simple four-letter word that isn't so simple. To try to live with this ethic of love and that language and that vocabulary word. Today, let's focus on words that might describe the way we go about expressing and talking about the expansive spiritual life, the spiritual component of that. There's communities everywhere. But what about the spiritual depth and level of connection that we're making in that regard? So, in an effort to start talking and using our words, your turn. You've got 2 minutes. Ho ho. I'm going to ask you to turn to 2 or 3 people around you. First, introduce yourself with your name and your pronouns, and then you have 2 minutes. So I'll give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You're going to share one word. It's easy, right, to share one word? But because I'm generous, I'll give you one word and then one sentence to explain your word, which is why you only have 2 minutes to do it. One word and then one sentence to explain your word. And the question is, for me, a goal of the spiritual life is blank. For me, a goal of the spiritual life is what? What is a goal? A goal. I didn't say the goal. A goal. What is a goal of you having a spiritual life? What do you want out of that? One word. I know, you could write essays, but one word and a sentence to explain it. Ready for 2.5 minutes? Let's do it. You can always pass, of course, because this is a safe space for the introverts as well. Okay, let's do it. You should be halfway there. Okay, coming back to the front. Thank you, everyone. Okay, that's a lot of words. With a question like this, it's fair to say that there are no right or wrong answers. There's very diverse answers about what each individual among us wants to get out of their own spiritual journey. Whatever those goals are, there are many, many, many of them. And it's a way to enter into this conversation. And unless we share kind of what that path is for each of us, how can we learn from each other? The path might be different than mine, but it matters that we're on a path together, even if those paths are going in different ways and have different goals. It's important to share them with each other. Because the question really is, how do we open ourselves so that someone, for instance, who wants to discern in their journey how to live with kindness in the midst of a messy divorce, can sit together with someone who wants to connect with what the ancients and the rituals that have persisted in the tradition have to say about faith or love, and those may seem like very different goals. But how do we communicate them and know that we're all kind of working at our own thing, but then also collectively working on something together? So our vocabulary has to be expansive to embrace wherever you are, whatever your word was that you shared with your group today. Let me say it this way. I appreciate that the work that SSUC community members have done over so many years to bring us to the point where we can be a place of inquiry and like Garth Mundell said, rejecting some long-held and dangerous notions about religion and spirituality. Of opening our language and emphases to the point where we're a gathering place for those who are evolving in their journeys of understanding, who may call themselves Christian or Buddhist or agnostics, and the ones who've not felt welcome or involved in any kind of community, where folks feel free to call themselves atheists or post-theists. Isn't it beautiful that recently I've had a couple people tell me that recently they've felt free to identify themselves as atheist and to say it out loud and not be judged for it, especially in community. Until recently, and given the permission in a place where questions and exploring are welcome. If we're going to be expansive, then we have to affirm that there are no wrong answers, because there's no one way. Permission to seek and explore. Does one have to believe a certain thing about God to be immersed in the spiritual endeavor? Does one have to believe certain ways about things that happened a millennia ago to seek the wisdom that shines through in our time? And this is where the questions begin. Might the language of theism, of particular ancient ways of one God, might those have served a long gone time? And might they narrow our ability to speak about the ways we live today that keep us from thinking and feeling and living expansively? So we have to be broad and inviting. If we're too narrow and specific in the words to describe what the spiritual path looks like, it may or may not include you. Now, trigger warning, if there's those of you who have been in a tradition where they said you must believe this about this particular either being called God or this particular human named Jesus, and if you don't believe those things, then I'm afraid you don't quite fit. You have work to do, as if the goal is to believe those things. So, language is important because it describes what goals there are for the spiritual life. If we speak with insider or churchy language, how does that help you find a doorway into the expression that you're seeking? It may not. Exclusion is one of the dangers and misuses of religion in the past that we can't repeat and must reject at every turn. I'm going to say that again. Exclusion is one of the dangers and misuses of religion in the past that we cannot repeat and must reject at every turn. So to be expansive means that there's room for you. If you want to explore a more traditional path that connects you with the past, the ancients, the traditions of Christianity, then there's room for you. To be expansive means there's room for you if you're on a search for meaning that you can't quite articulate, or are aspiring for goodness with others, trying to do the same. And even if you're not quite sure what that is, then there's room for you. To be expansive means there's room for you if you're letting go of or reframing or understanding or re-evaluating your understandings of God from the past or the concept of God altogether. There's place for you. What might connect us all, we affirm, is that we seek to let our faith, our spirituality, our values be reflected in our everyday living. And for that, what we explore has to be relevant. It has to be about our own lives. It has to be about what we're experiencing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, anyone who notices, you're right. You don't hear the word God very much around here. It's not your imagination. And we don't talk about it very often, but we do every now and then have to talk about why. We have such a socialized, culturally ingrained definition of that word. You might either call it inherited wisdom, or you might call it baggage, depending on your point of view. By using language that is open, that is more neutral, that talks about entryways, that talks about invitations, that talks about values we wish to live, you're invited to bring what you need to that. If it's a more traditional understanding that works for you, please hear it that way. If it's new images and new vocabulary or non-theistic or atheistic ways of looking at our values and our living and our commitments, you're invited to hear it that way. It's only with that broad and open language that we can stretch for new meaning and new ideas, new endeavors, in exploring wisdom from many traditions and sources, finding lots of different ways to enter the conversation. There is not one way. You might really engage with a poet, and you may not. You might really engage with the wisdom and the texts of our Christian tradition, and you may not. When we broaden the space for how we engage the wisdom of our living across the centuries and across experience, we're making it possible for others to enter the path. We're creating and opening doorways. And when we're open to new, that means we have to also be ready to set aside the old, or to embrace it in a new way. And when we do that, we're going to be learning, we're going to be embracing excitement and confusion and elation and grief and hope, because we're tossing everything up in the air. And that can be very uncomfortable. But in doing so, we hope that you will be invited to land where you need to land, to hold on to what you need to hold on to. That's what we're in for, is all the emotions involved with that. And finally, when we do learn new personal revelations and gain new facts and understanding our connection to each other in ways that are new for us, these are truths that we will be really excited about. We'll be excited that we're in a room and we get to talk about a value, a principle in life that I'm really excited about. And then, for the sake of our own growth, we're going to have to remain open to questioning that too. What seemed right and okay yesterday will not necessarily seem right today. And we have to be open to the reality that where we are now is not where we'll be tomorrow. Dang it, is there nothing constant? This is what it is to mature in thought, to evolve, to expand, to quote, to be transformed by the renewal of our minds. Or from a different translation of that text, to be changed from the inside out. So, as the last little bit of business we have today, we're going to add to this list. It's group vocabulary list time. This went over so well the last time. I've got my pencil. If you weren't here 2 weeks ago, I apologize for that reference. Group vocabulary list time. Maybe it builds on what you shared with each other earlier, or maybe you're thinking that you have some new words to describe what it is to be expansive when you're thinking about your spiritual life and our spiritual journey together. What words shall we add to the list that describe the spiritual aspect of what it means to be expansive? What is that for you? That expansive kernel of what is important to your values, to your deepening of your spirituality. What are those words for you?
Connecting in all directions.
Connecting in all directions. I'm fast writer, but not too fast. Okay, others? Understanding. Mm-hmm. Listening. Unity and diversity. Inclusion. And there was one over here. Stretching. Relevancy. Reaching out. Balance. Questioning your own beliefs. Growth. Inner peace. Tranquility. I'll be checking in on the chat afterward to see what words you've come up with, those of you who are joining online. Thank you. A beautiful number of words to add to our ability to communicate what it is to be an expansive spiritual person, an expanding spiritual community. Oh yeah, I turned my sheet over. Yeah, right. Whatever images and values, whatever concepts help us to do the spiritual endeavor, to do the spiritual life, let's celebrate all those things. As different and unique and varied as they are, we'll celebrate them. Isn't that what it means to continue to grow and expand? So that we can make our way along whatever spiritual path we've set for ourselves. This is our work before us. This is our work individually, and this is our work collectively. May we bring new words and new language to describe how that is for us and invite others into the beauty and into the work of that life. May it be so in so many ways.
Well, dear SSUC family, as we leave this place, taking our sacred light with us, in the words of the song we just sang, may we live lives that shine with deep-held joy. May we live a creed of love wherever this week may take us. May we thrive amidst our world's amazing diversity. May we expand in love so it becomes our highest pursuit and noblest task. And may we commit our time and our work and our energy not just to words, but to actions that expand our love. May it be so.